Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of UruLive. Last episode we went through Minkata, an age I absolutely hate because it requires a lot of blind running. Not really any puzzle solving except for one that is just ridiculous. Anyway, there's only a little bit left to show. There's only been a little bit more that's happened in UruLive that's been added, and I am going to show off the few ages that are left, because there's not that much to them, but oh, I have to show them off. First things first, we have to go back to the library for this other age I need to show. Over we go to the library courtyard. It doesn't seem like anyone's in the city right now. Oh well. Come on. Alright. Now, there was another book located next to Minkata. I believe it was added at the same time. However, it is also much less annoying than Minkata was. Yeah, it's over there. I believe that's a Relto page that's next to it. No, it's not. Oh no, this is called Jalak. We still haven't figured out exactly how this place is supposed to work, and we're not sure we're ever going to. We do know that the Dunny came here for some kind of sport, and it was fairly popular. We know that audiences came and watched whatever game they played. It's the rules we don't know. We have found no rules written down by the Dunny, which means that it was such common knowledge that no one felt the need to write it down, or the game always changed. Either way, we've been having fun here, and we figured we might as well share a couple of games that we've come up with for this place. You can add your own rules, modify ours, or come up with something completely different. Maybe yours is the way the Dunny really did it. Who knows? Quick cubes. Alright, so this one is one of our favorites. Make sure the arena is level. That means all the pillars are at an equal height. Then bring in 2 of the big cubes. Make sure the wall is in place and set 1 cube on each corner of the arena. Somebody yell go. The rules are you can only affect the pillars directly next to you. In other words, you can only lower or raise the 3 or 4 pillars that surround you. No diagonal stuff. You can move around all you want to make sure you affect other pillars, but you have to keep the adjacent pillar rule. The objective is to get your cube from your corner into your opponent's corner before your opponent gets his or hers into yours. Play offense or play defense, but hurry. Chest cubes. This one is a little slower. Those of us who are a little more into strategy prefer this one. Same idea as before. Level the field, 2 cubes, 1 in each corner. After they're there, hit the randomize button. With this one, you can still only affect the pillars adjacent to you. In addition, you only get 3 pillar moves before it's your opponent's turn. Your opponent will hear the raises or lowers, so don't cheat. You can move the cube all you want while your opponent is going, but you can't change any pillars until it's your turn. Same thing as before. Get the cube to your opponent's corner before they do. We should add that some of the Resangs have been using this place as a construction sandbox. You should see some of the stuff they've built. Castles and stuff. Well, wannabe castles at least. And this is Jalak. As I said, I believe it was made with intent of being, well, a place you can play or game with. You have to use your Kai in order to do it. Using this thing. And as you can see, you can basically move these squares and puzzles and everything around. There's a big issue around here. You can't really move anything else. You can press these other buttons to change other things, such as adding this cube or a sphere. We bring it all the way up. And there's a big cube. Ah! Did not see that coming. Also, there, we got another sparkly. Just as we needed. Yeah, it just adds a whole bunch of things. Remove all of that. I think that's the... yeah, that's the randomize button, I guess. Ah! Did not intend to fall off like that. This is... I don't know. Yeah, more of a randomized button. It's just a little more finicky. I don't know how to move individual ones. Oh, I see what that is. Alright, let's lower everything down just to show something off here. Yeah, what that is that basically turns on and off the wall that's around us. So if I turn it off, we'll be able to just knock things out, I guess. Yep, there it goes. And aside from that, this place is just a big surrounding area. There's really nothing to this other than that. Aside from that, you can just run off and link out. That's all there is to Jalak. It was meant as a sort of game of sorts, and no other purpose to it. You can visit it at any time, but that's it. So what else is there? Well, there is a collection of 4 ages that are connected together in a way, and there is something in at least one of them. To get to those, they're over in the museum, and I'll show each of them. I believe Dakota Alley is the way we need to get to it. Yeah. That's the closest one. It'll be a couple links to show them off, but show them off I shall. Just gonna make the run over to them. Should be over in this direction. Don't remember the exact name of all 4 of them, but one of them is called Negalon. I can't remember the other 3. But they're basically known as the Pod Ages, and you'll see why in a minute. Let's not start with that one. Let's start with this one over here. Here's the first one. Here we are. This is one of the 4 Pod Ages. Okay, there's a linking book out there. We'll take that in a minute. But what is the purpose of these? Well, press a button. I think that's supposed to turn on a light or something out there. You can see some sort of jungle outside, but that's about it. This is basically a big pod allowing us to look outside into this jungle. See whatever's out here. I believe there's a Relto page in one of these 4 Pod Ages, but I can't remember which one. Or where it is exactly. Ah, there it is. That answered my question. There we go. Add some lush greenery and the like, I believe. I'll show it to you later when we get back to Relto. Okay. Then we can take this one down. Oh wait, I think this is why. We need to turn on the power. Now we can really see outside. Doesn't seem to do much, though. Well, that's a sound. Pressing these buttons turns on some animal calls or the like. Oh, hey, fireflies. That is basically what these 4 ages are. They're basically observation posts. And there's 4 of them. Each one basically is supposed to observe a different area of this one world. That particular area seems to be a jungle area. There is a map somewhere that shows where the pods are located on some kind of world. I don't know where exactly. I don't know what the name of the age is that they're all supposed to be on. But I will grab all 4 of them, just to show what you see in each one. I don't think there's really anything else in any of them. Not even any sparklies, I don't think. There is kind of a puzzle, but there aren't any clues for it anywhere as far as I know. Not really. Oh, here it is. That right there is one of the pods, and the numbers you see on... Okay, you can actually zoom in. The numbers you see on each of these locations are supposed to be, well, the different pods. We have access to 4 of them, and the number you see on the bottom will basically tell you which pod it is. I think this is like, oh, this is basically an idea of some of the animals you can see. Yeah, Negalon, that's one of the pod ages. Okay, here's a second one. I guess you need to turn on the power in order to see what the heck is outside. Otherwise it just... You're so blind you can't really see. Oh! Okay, down we go. Yeah, I can't really see anything out there, so let's turn on the power. What is out here? Oh, it's underwater here. Do these buttons... Oh! Yeah, there's fish out there. Yes, and these buttons actually do turn on lights. Not easy to see, but... Alright, let's hear the sounds of the creatures here. They are faint, but they are there. Let's take a look a bit higher up, because I think we can actually see above level, too. Yes, we actually can. This is like up in a more wintry area, very cold area. It's fascinating. Alright, back to get to the third one. Alright. Back to the Nexus to get to the third age. As I said, there is a puzzle to it, but it's also kind of stupid in the way. There's nothing to solve. You're not supposed to wait there until certain animals show up, and then hit the right sound in order to summon them, or anything like that. Nothing with any of the buttons, or anything like that. Instead, while you can get more of those stone wedges, one from each of them, in order to get it, you need to be inside the pod at a precise time. And there are literally hours. Literally hours. Like, I think the time is 15 hours between when a pod shows up that little sparkly thing in order to get the stone. So if I went into Negalon and I had just missed it, I'd have to wait 15 hours to get the next one. Well, there are a bunch of these. It takes, I forget exactly. It's like... Hold on a moment. Sorry about that. The thing is, the way it is if you get the first one that you can get, you have to wait like an hour or two in order to get the next one, and then another hour for the next one, and it's ridiculous. You can only get these once a day, and if you miss it that day, chances are you're not gonna get it the next time. Oh. Well, this is kind of barren. Yeah, that's very clear, the light you can see. This is a very barren world. A very barren part of the world. Kind of a rocky desert in a way. Alright, what are the animals' sounds here? Just to hear them. Yeah, those are the animals. It's kind of, I guess it's supposed to be kind of savanna-y, but okay. Alright, there's only one other pod that we can look at, so we'll go take a look at it. Why not? Just gotta go back to Dakota Alley and go investigate it. Then when I have it, my bookshelf will be pretty much full. Up this way I go. To the fourth pod, which, unfortunately, I believe is kind of broken. There isn't really anything to it or anything there. Here it is. As you can see, it's very dark and red. Only emergency lights are on. Literally can't see a thing. Yeah, all I can see is that. Okay, so yeah, I can't see a thing here. It's so dark and broken. Nothing actually works. In fact, even the game is glitching. So there's really no point to this. So, that fourth age, the pod's broken, leaking. I don't know where it's supposed to be, and I'm not even going to bother looking around. And that's all the stuff that was added in with UruLive. I've shown almost everything. But there is one more thing I have to show. Turns out there's a Barrow stone that I missed that I completely forgot about. There was a location that I had forgotten about that I do need to show. The last place I have to show. I believe it was in the original Uru, and I have to show it. The reason why is I forgot that it's located right down in here. Right among this rubble. Right behind here. We've got a Barrow page. Leading somewhere. There isn't too much here. There's a few things. It's a small room of sorts. There's not much. We've got a Relto page. So we can grab that. There's a Kai dispenser here, but the main thing it does is give us a light. Nothing else. And there's not really much else here. I thought there were some clothes, but I may have been wrong. There is one of the sparklies, though. There we go. That's the last one. And there's also a book from Dr. Watson. I can't take it. After all of our efforts to ensure everyone's safety down here in the cavern, yet another accident has taken the life of another friend. It's too much. For years I've been stressing that the restoration must be handled carefully, that extreme caution should be our byword. There's no reason to rush. Then recently the explorers began showing up. Despite our warnings, despite our statements that we're moving and working as quickly as we safely can, it wasn't fast enough for them. They just don't comprehend. We've been working down here for over 10 years, yet they think they know better, that we can just approve more areas more quickly. I've tried to impress upon them the importance of moving slowly, deliberately, carefully. My warnings seem to fall on deaf ears. Their enthusiasm is understandable, their disregard for the safety of the people down here is not. Then Phil returned. He'd been gone over a year after he disappeared behind the door we were unable to open and eat or chemo. We'd worried about him, hoping he was still okay. It was great to have him back and know he was okay, but he was just as willing to risk his safety and disregard our precautions as the explorers. Now, just a few weeks after his return, he was in an unauthorized area today and was killed when a wall collapsed on him. The accidents must be stopped. It started with Branch being killed in an accident in one of our trips in 91. Then the death of Elias in 93, because his obsession with the restoration caused him to neglect his health. Then all the needless injuries suffered by various restoration engineers over the years. And now the death of Phil. That's the final straw. It has to stop. I cannot bear the responsibility of the restoration any longer. The price is too high. I don't know where I'm going. I've been wandering the tunnels for days. No direction, no purpose. Trying to clear my head. Nothing happy about this new year. I keep running over it in my head. I've been so committed to this project for so long, maybe I've been deluding myself about the truth. What if we've been wrong all along? What if Jeff's been right? Maybe the restoration should take a completely different direction. It's hard to imagine that I'm saying this. I'm still in denial that we spent so many years of our lives heading in the wrong direction. But the very fact that I can even entertain that as a possibility means something. The restoration cannot continue as we had planned. It breaks my heart, but I know deep down that it's true. So much time, so many plans, so much gone. So much. I still can't believe I'm even thinking this, but that's the way it has to be. Will the other restoration members understand? Maybe. The explorers won't, I'm sure. It can't be helped. The restoration can't continue after these events. But all that work, all the progress we were making, no words to describe how angry it makes me, even while knowing inside that this is how it must be. Such a waste. No, there must be a way, something else we can do to continue the restoration and still ensure everyone's safety. Surely now that people have seen tragedy firsthand, they'll recognize how important our caution is. Depression. It won't work. We tried that for months. Even Phil's death won't change it. I realize now that Atris was right. He said that the city and the cavern should not be restored. I believed for years that his admonition didn't include those of us from the surface, that we could somehow be a loophole in his concerns. He was right. I finally see that now. What do we do now? Phil said that he had been on a journey and was convinced that there was a better way. I need to talk to Akuro. I find myself here, in a familiar place that suddenly holds so much more meaning, here at the very crossroads, the pivotal juncture of Dunny and human intertwining, this very room where Tiana once rested with her young son Gen, where Gen and his own son Atris slept along their journey. This small room on the cusp of the grandest of rooms, a tiny resting place half of the distance up or down the great shaft itself, a pause halfway between here and there. I find myself here. It's been my pause. My chance to ponder. I've been wondering for 3 weeks, grieving, thinking, fasting, reflecting, pausing. Pausing from the cares of work, of of rebuilding, of rules, of structure, of people and places, of frictions and factions, of life and death. And now I realize that I have only looked on Dunny as bones. My rebuilding was only an attempt to reassemble the dried dead bones into a dried dead skeleton. No more alive, but arranged to poorly mimic what once was alive. I somehow thought that those dried bones would live again and become the storyteller, telling me the things I long to know. I still long to know. I still feel a calling. I'm meant to be a part of Dunny somehow. I'm drawn here because it holds an answer for me. But now I understand that I need more than a dead story from a pile of bones. I need a storyteller who lives. And so here I am, small, on the edge of vast unknown, this place that seems so appropriate. I've come to a conclusion that goes against who I was but fills me with life and hope. I will take a leap of faith. I will take a new journey, the journey that Phil encouraged me to take for myself, a journey that is out of my control. I will jump into something and lose myself, take a journey to places unknown whose end is not yet written. I will follow Yisha's mysterious beckoning. Somehow even writing it lifts my spirit. I'm returning to the surface to do just that. And you, friend, if you have not already done so, should do the same leap without truly understanding what lies beneath, and get a glimpse of the future rise up to meet you. I'm terrified, but also full of hope that Dunny can now truly be restored, alive again. And the storyteller will be alive. And it will be me. This is the area that was mentioned. Even though we never actually see it in any of the games, this has an important purpose within the history. It's mentioned in the books that were written around Mist. The Book of Tiana, the Book of Atris, the Book of Dunny, I believe that's the names of them. This is a room that was stayed in by Atris, by Gen, by his mother Tiana, as they traveled between the surface and the city of the Dunny. Because through this door is the Great Shaft, an enormous stairway going all the way up to the surface and all the way down to the city. It says it's halfway up and halfway down, but I feel like there's a lot more to it than there is. We cannot actually make that walk. If we walk further up, we end up hitting that barricade. Same thing with if we go down. We just can't. It's crumbled, it's ruined. All we can do is jump. And fall down the shaft until we link out. Back to our Relto. We've managed to get two linking books and 2 Relto pages. One is this bit of flowers and greenery growing over the island, and the other happens to be this right here. A music box. Simply by pressing it, we end up hearing the music of Riven, Gen's theme. We can get a second tune for it. If we go into the gallery, we can press a button on a music box up there to get the gallery theme. And I think we shall. In fact, pardon me, I'm just going to run off and grab it. The gallery theme is easy to get. You just gotta run up here, run around the circle here, as I had done before when I was getting the things, and right here. And now it's added. Somehow. And now we just press the button a few more times. I believe that just turns it off. And now, if I'm right, there it is. The only other thing we've added to Relto is we finally collected the last sparkly thing to over here. And what that does, gives us fireworks. Fireworks, that seems fitting to celebrate having finally completed Uru. Because that's all there was. Uru is done. There is nothing else left. All the ages have been completed. Well, I've gotten all the wedges except for the 2 for the 2 garden ages and the 4 for the pod ages. I've gotten every Relto page. I've gotten all the sparklies. I've gotten all the books. I've read all of them. This is my bookshelf, full. All those empty spots. They had such high hopes for UruLive when they made it. There's a picture somewhere that shows the bookshelf filled with books. Each empty spot has another book in it. Another potential age created, to link to visit, to see. Created by the other players. More stories, more ages, more things to see. And yet none of it is left. It's sad in a way. This game, with so much creative potential to it, so much that could have been made, no limits to the ages that could be created, to the stories that could be written. And yet there's so much not there. But at the same time, it's still here. Even though the game is so old and ran so long ago and Cyan stopped supporting it, they didn't support the multiplayer anymore, they shut down their servers. The people, the fans, the players, they kept it. They let it continue to run. They keep it running purely on their own choices, their own decision. It's run entirely on donations. The players, the fans, the people, they've become the dunny. The entire story of Uru is that if you try to keep the city running, if you try to rebuild the city the way that the DRC did, all you'll have is a dead city with nothing in it. Nothing but bones, skeletons in a museum. The dunny will remain dead. But if you take that journey, if you just follow what happened, if you really try, really believe, if you make it new, the dunny will continue to live. And in a way they have. Uru is years old, over a decade old, I think, and yet there are still people who show up here. Still fans who come to the city to visit it. Still people who go through the puzzles. Who find everything there is to find. Who spend time in their Relto. Who speak in the city. Who play music. Who talk. Even though this game, even though the city of the dunny is gone, the dunny in their own way still live on. Uru still lives. The great city still lives. Quietly, softly, it's still there. I've shown you all there was to Uru. But there's no reason you can't come and take your own journey, explore things on your own. UruLive is completely free, and even though there may be some occasional glitches or technical issues, there's no reason you can't come visit on your own. Come visit the city. Come visit us. See the dunny. See the people there. For me, this is all I have to show on the channel. but the ending's not yet been written. There is still one more Myst game that I have to play. Myst 5. And it was made to be a sequel to Uru. A grand finale to the Tale of Myst. And I will do it next time. This one, I spent my time in Uru. But I will always be here. I will always be in Relto. Relto has always been my age. It's always been my own home. My own sanctuary. I've always considered it such. Welcome to my Relto. I will see you all in Myst 5. Till then. I link out.